Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to episode 182 of Let's Talk Oculus. I'm your host as always, I'm Dan, and I'm joined by my co-host as always, it is Samson. How do you do, good sir?
I am doing quite well. Got into a good amount of VR. Weather was good today, which is minuscule because it has been raining quite some time.
I mean, it was snowing. It was snowing in Toronto like a few days ago, so
it did snow near here too. Yeah,
the weather's all over the place, to be honest. But yeah, I'm doing well. Didn't get into VR this week, unfortunately, but we do have a really good show to go through. So we have a lot. So we have like a 2-part show. So the first part, we're going to do the MetaQuest gaming on a budget, which is going to be our main topic, where we're going to go through a few picks under $25, under $20, under $15, and under $10. I think we have almost 30 games that we've picked out. So stay tuned for that for part 2. Samson, obviously you've been playing a bunch of VR, which we'll get into as well. But then in the second half of the show, we sit down with Cezary. Cezary, he is the editor-in-chief at the XR Daily News, which is his own website. He's from Poland, and he's super passionate about VR and AR in education. And the reason why I wanted him on the show is because he tweeted recently about him like volunteering pretty much and kind of showing off VR in a bunch of different schools, but using it for education. And we have a really good chat with him where we discover that he kind of has to do a ton of workarounds to make this happen and ends up choosing Figman XR for a variety of reasons, which still does have its issues with what it's meant to be as well for an education app, but he's built his own lessons and such, and I have the screenshots and videos from his lessons as well, so you can check that out on the video version of this podcast as well. But yeah, a really good chat with him. Like, we had a really great time, right, Samson? He was a lovely fella as well. Lovely fella.
Yeah, it was a very good time, you know. It's always good to talk to the EU. They live in the future.
I guess so.
But yeah, he's just a very, very impressive dude.
Yeah. So you're going to enjoy that in the second half of the show. Bit of housekeeping as always. The Discord is below in our comments. Check it out if you're on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get the show. In the description is the Discord. Come join us. There's tons of stuff happening in the Discord. We've got the Walkabout Tournament Season 9 right round the corner that Healing Entree will be hosting, where there'll be 2 courses, one for easy, one for hard. You'll have about a week or a week and a half, depending on the dates, I guess, to play those courses. And you can do stroke play, you can do the race mode, or you could do both if you wanted to, and submit them to Healing Entree and then see how your scores compare to everyone else in the Discord. It's a fun time, so come on down to the Discord if you want to take part and just want to join a friendly community as well.
Yeah. Sometimes we even play one of the courses on Thursday night.
Yeah, every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. I know a few of you have joined us in the Walkabout, so yeah, just come on down and we will play some Walkabout and play some courses that maybe even if you don't have them, the guest pass is available for Walkabout, so come on down for that. Patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus if you want to support us. Let's get into some listener comments, Samson. Now you can comment us on Spotify, Discord, on YouTube, DM us, send us a letter, pigeon mail, snail mail. What else we got?
That's about it.
I think I covered it all, right?
Yeah, we don't have the P.O. box still.
No, we still don't have that. Samson, what is our first comment?
First comment comes from Spotify, from Scott GC17, from episode LTO 182. Great pod. Hopefully Wanderer goes on sale at some point. I was looking forward to it, but I'll wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Scott, for putting the comment. And also, it wasn't LTO 182. That was my mistake. That's today's episode. It's 181. It was last week's episode. But yeah, Wanderer
I'm
has
Ron Burgundy.
yeah, honestly, I've wrong Burgundy every time. You always just read everything and no idea. Honestly, there'll be a few times where I'll type some random things. It's coming, Samson. It's coming. So you be on.
Yeah, that I usually notice, but it's when things are like when things are look like one paragraph. I'll just keep going.
Yeah, you'll just keep going. If I have to put some bold text or some lines, otherwise you're gonna just read the whole script.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So yeah, Wanderer. We'll get into Wanderer in the news in a moment, but yeah, I think it's a great idea. Wait for either. I wouldn't even say wait for the sale, to be honest, Scott, just yet. I would say just wait till the updates are all out in terms of all the fixes that they're doing. I think then is the time to jump in. Well, at least I'll play it and I'll let you know anyway, because it is an expensive game at $50, I think, USD. So,
yeah, I think 55 maybe.
Yeah. We also have one more comment from Fozzy Rock 1986 on the Discord, brand new Discord member. They've been putting a lot of good comments in there recently, but they just said just purchased a Media Quest, a Meta Quest 3S a few days ago and absolutely love it. What are the biggest upcoming games? Samson, I was thinking of this and I was like, we don't really know the biggest upcoming games, to be honest.
Well, they sort of just released
Civilization, Wanderer as probably the two biggest ones recently.
Yeah, and I feel like just before Christmas, there was
there was a bunch of them.
Metro, Alien, Batman, Behemoth.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just one of those where when the Summer Gaming Showcase is on, which is not, I think it's Summer Gaming Showcase is what it's called, but that's just for gaming in general. That's when you'd probably expect to see some big VR gaming announcements. Also, you've got the VR Game Showcase, which will be in August, I believe. You'll probably see a bunch of stuff in there.
This is a pretty dry time generally. Like
it always is. Yeah.
So the fall is when it'll start to kick up again.
Yeah,
you get a few here and there, but like people are in VR a lot less come the summertime, and I know it's only the summertime in one hemisphere, but unfortunately,
it's where the announcements are normally
towards
yeah, it is. I think also in the summer you'll get the announcements. So like in June, you'll probably get the announcements of maybe the odd few titles that were coming, but they'll just start trickling in all the way up to maybe end of August, and then they'll come out from October to December, which is normally the time of the year. But at the same time, it could be a bit of a dry year in general. Yeah. Who's to say? We haven't really heard anything at this point. Last year, we knew Behemoth was coming. Hopefully it was coming. After it got delayed so many times, we knew Metro was coming. By the way, Metro 2033 free on Steam if you wanted to pick that up. There's like a big anniversary. Yeah, free. Unrelated, but related to Metro, I guess. They're doing like a birthday or anniversary sale or something like that. So it's one of those. We don't know what the upcoming games. He said he's into platformers, RPGs, racing, sports, action, and adventure mainly, which is quite a lot of genres and covers quite a lot. So, he did
get a lot of suggestions there from the people in the
Discord.
Of
suggestions in Discord.
Shout out to Prentice Show Live Open Mic and Pow Pow. And Inferno, I think, got in there too.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll go over a few things in part 2, of course, with our budget titles that we would recommend as well. But welcome to the community, Fuzzy Rock. Welcome to the community. All right, Samson. Let's go through some VR news. There's not much to touch on, to be quite honest with you. There's not much to touch on, but there are like 4 or 5 news stories to just talk about for a little bit. So first news story is, let's just talk about Wanderer first. It gets its first hot fix. They fixed a ton of bugs. The list was massive when I saw it. The first thing on the list was actually quite funny because it is one of the things that I did say happened to me, is when you climb on like a ladder or something, you get catapulted the other side.
The ladder loop.
Yeah, exactly. And that happened so many times, as I spoke about last week. And that was the first thing on the list that they fixed. I haven't jumped in since they've done this. I'm actually probably not going to jump in until they've done all the updates. They've already promised 3 more big hot fixes, shall we say. So they are coming, but maybe over the next month or so. It's a shame that it's not been released in a good state, to be honest with you, but I'm sure this game's going to be really good as soon as it is fixed.
Almost as much of a shame as the fact you're talking about ladders, and instead of saying, I need to climb back in, you said, jump back in.
Well, I am jumping off that ladder at the moment with the hotfix, so I guess so. Samson, I'm not sure if I asked you this last week, but are you planning to eventually get into this game? I know you're not massive into big story games, but it is.
Wander?
Yeah, it is a big one.
No, I do have it on my Steam. I do believe I picked
the original.
Past on a
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, because I know you're not a big single player long game, because otherwise you're going to play it for a little bit and then that's $50 gone. You know.
Yeah, exactly. It does sound pretty cool. I've always dreamt of hopping in the PC version.
Yeah, just another one for the backlog. Potentially. All right, next news story. We got a few sales. The Quest 3S is $30 off currently, which is in US, Canada, and the rest of Europe. I include UK in Europe as well. So yeah, $30.
I mean, it's not part of the EU, Dan, but it is in Europe.
It's still Europe, exactly. Yeah, it's just that the Upload VR article I saw said UK and Europe, and I was like, I'll include UK in the Europe section, to be honest. But yeah, it's $30 off for Quest 3S only, not the 3. So it's a good time to jump in if you want. That's going to go on for 2 weeks, and remember that will include Batman. I think it includes Batman until the summer, but I could be wrong. I think it might be till the end of the year, to be honest. It's quite a long time. But yeah. All right. Next news story, just verged off a little tangent off Quest for a quick second. And let's talk about a little bit of Apple Vision Pro real quick. The Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, who's always really good at Apple predictions, and he said that Apple Vision Pro 2 will be cheaper and lighter, and it won't be just a chip upgrade. Yeah.
I just Googled it, and it says it will be included only until April 30th.
Oh, Batman?
At least on this, I mean, they might have extended it, but this is according to the first post on Amazon.
Wow. Okay, so it's right around the corner. I thought the voucher inside the box was much longer, but obviously maybe not. Maybe it is April 30th, like you mentioned. I'm sure April 30th.
But that would make sense, because that would be the next 2 weeks, the final 2 weeks going into the
right. That's true.
Of the
end of the Batman sale. Yeah. That's true. But then also at the same time, you know, when not Behemoth, Asgard's Wrath 2 was on the Quest 3, they also ended it at around April to June, around that kind of period. Well, they just added it to the Quest Plus a few months later, so I'm sure Batman will be on that soon anyway. But if you haven't jumped in now, then maybe you're not planning to jump in for a while anyway. So, but yeah, just on that other news story, Apple Vision Pro 2 will be cheaper and lighter, not just a chip upgrade, from Mark Gurman. And they said that Apple are also working on a Mac tethered headset too. The reason why I just wanted to include this, I just thought it was quite exciting in the VR space. I really feel like in the next maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe that there's going to be a lot of VR headsets, but all for different use cases, from Apple, from like Samsung, from Google and such. Like we're diving into a space of a lot of VR headsets in general, not just gaming, but in general. And it's all happening soon.
Dan, a Mac tethered one would be pretty cool. You think it'd be tethered to an like the PC, like the Big Mac, or like a MacBook?
I think either. They're both as powerful as each other, so it
doesn't really matter. Begs to, do you think also a Mac Mini? Yeah.
All of them. The Mac Mini is hella powerful. It's crazy. It's mental. It's a beast, the Mac Mini now. After as soon as Apple made that transition from the Intel chip to the ARM chip with their M series, it's been an absolute game changer in computing. Like all of the MacBooks and desktops and however big or small they are so powerful now. And also the battery life is wicked. Like I take my laptop out and it's like 20 hours battery life. And
wow.
I don't have to ding his charger. I went to a coffee shop on the weekend, and I was in like a student kind of coffee shop, and there's two students in front of me. They had like these big gaming, like Alienware-esque type of gaming laptops, and they were massive. And I saw their big ass brick charger that they had to plug in because it lasts like an hour and such. And I was like, wow, we still have these things.
That reminds me of like my college laptop. I remember like 2 to 3 hours. 3 hours, you were like, yeah, my laptop lasts a long time.
Yeah, right. And now they last like 20 hours with these chips. It's mental. I'm not sure if I'd be very interested in the Apple Vision Pro 2. I think I've said that before. It just all depends on price, to be honest. I'm not spending like $5,000 Canadian on it. It's just, it's crazy. I don't think I can even afford that, to be honest, without having to put it on the credit card for a few months. So
it will be Apple Vision, maybe even double digits before
we get
our price range.
Yeah, that's very, very fair. All right, back to the Quest news. A very exciting very exciting announcement, which kind of came out of nowhere, and I don't think not many people are talking about it yet. But Star Wars Beyond Victory, a mixed reality playset, has been announced. The newest edition from ILM, who came out with Tales of the Galaxy's Edge, as well as Vader Immortal as well. And all they've said is Beyond Victory, about Beyond Victory, sorry. It says it puts you inside the world of pod racing like never before. Here you'll meet up-and-comer Volo Bolos. I don't know if I've sent that right, but it's a fake name anyway, who joins forces with legendary pod racer pilot Cebulia. Look, Samson has a mini lightsaber on the video podcast right now. Where'd you get that from?
Dan, it's a pack of pens.
Oh, the lightsaber pens. That is pretty sick. That is pretty sick. Yeah. Yeah.
You started talking about Star Wars, and I remembered that I happen to keep these pens on this desk.
That's a really cool pen. I'm not gonna lie. I've never seen those before, but they are really, really cool. So we don't find anything else, but in fact, like by the time you're listening to this on the weekend, they're going to be showing it at there's like a Japanese
conference or something.
Yeah, a Japanese Star Wars conference, and they're going to show it off there. So Samson, let's go this weekend.
Yeah, I'm in.
Samson, from the title Star Wars Beyond Victory, a mixed reality playset. What do you think this would be? Hazard of guess from just knowing nothing apart from put you inside the world of pod racing like never before. That's all we know.
Well, Dan, I think we might be either watching some pod racing. Hopefully, we'll be taking part in some pod racing. But Beyond Victory, that makes it sound like it's after the victory of the pod racing. Am I wrong?
That's literally what that means, I guess. Yeah.
So it could just be like post the pod race celebration, and something happens in that.
Well,
that would be like kind of disappointing, Dan.
Yeah, I guess that would be very disappointing. Star Wars Beyond Victory, a mixed reality playset. I think the mixed reality playset gives it away for me. Well, I say give it away. I have no idea, to be honest. But I'm thinking that this is going to be like you could build your own pod racer, essentially, and then there'll be pieces, and it'll be like Lego-esque, but not Lego-esque. And then you could probably build your own little pod racer, and then maybe you can see it in mixed reality at like full scale, potentially, or a bigger scale and such. And maybe there'll be puzzles involved where like you just got to fix up different pods and such. And then this is maybe
that would be cool, Dan. That would be cool.
Yeah, like a mechanic game in a way.
Yeah, kind of like they did that a little bit with that the robot Star Wars game on PC. I forget what it was called now. You could control the little BB or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dan, here's the thing. I interpreted mixed reality to just be VR because this is from like a meta studio.
That's true, I
guess.
guess.
And who knows what the heck it means.
Yeah, that's true.
Words are meaningless, you know. Their
according to the
points
meta.
points
Yeah,
don't mean anything here, and so I kind of do hope that I would also like what you say. I would like this. Those things sound pretty
I think
cool.
that would be cool. It's very different to
A
like the other
pod
two
race,
games.
though, a pod racer is pretty big, Dan. Pod racer's not fitting in my living room.
No, it's not. But maybe you could just scale it, right? You
Yeah.
could just make it smaller and bigger and such. Yeah, it says here you'll meet up and comer Volo Bolus, who joins forces with legendary pod racer pilot Sir Bulba. That's why I think you're like a mechanic on the team. And maybe we can take it a step further, and maybe you can see a pod race in mixed reality. Like you could have the track on your desk or something, and you could see like a mini like your pod race, you're like going around the track or something like that.
Yeah,
Potentially.
watching a pod race would be pretty cool. I'd love to
Yeah.
gamble on it. Don't think that'll be in it. Don't
Yeah.
think it should be either.
No, not at all. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I mean, we'll find out this weekend. We'll talk about it next week on the show. We'll see exactly how wrong we were. I feel like if this was like a big game like Tales of the Galaxy's Edge or Vader's Immortal, I feel like this will be more of a big deal, and Meta will probably push it a little bit more. But we're not hearing much. It's just the ILM actually announced this themselves, and that's all we know for now. And it's kind of like a hidden announcement in a way. So I don't think this is going to be that big. It's going to be a small thing, which is why I think maybe a mixed reality mechanic, you can fix stuff up and those kind of things.
Okay, Dan. So I did a little chat GPT of who is Seb Yilba, and is a famous aggressive Doug pod racer who appears in Episode 1 Phantom Menace, known for his dirty racing tactics. He was Anakin Skywalker's main rival in the Bunta Eve Classic pod race.
Yeah, he gets destroyed. He's got that. He's got like a. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe his face, to be honest. But he's got these massive ass goggles, is what I remember. Yeah, gosh, that movie. That movie is. The movie is something. But the pod race is
Yep.
fun. The pod race is very fun in that movie. Pod race, the ending of episode 1, and
He's
the
a Jar
start
Jar
of
Binks.
the start of episode 1, the pod race, and the end of episode 1 are very good. Everything in between that, yeah, it's a tough watch. Anyway, we'll find out what we have soon enough. Next and final news story: Behemoth adds a new game plus to the host of updates they've been putting out since December, to be honest. And they say New Game Plus is one of the most requested features from the community, and they're super happy that they can finally release it. For those of you who don't really know what New Game Plus is, that always is about where you finish the game, where you have all your collectibles, your main character, shall we say, is built up. So you have all the different attributes, the skills tree, and all that stuff. But then you get to play the game from the start, but at that level. So you're just like
So
a
generally
superhuman.
the enemies are better. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what New Game Plus normally is. Normally really fun. I should jump back into Behemoth. I still have it on my Quest. Actually, do I refund it? No, I think I still have it. No,
Your
I'm
Quest
pretty
looks
sure I have
charged
it.
back there.
My Quest is always charged, yeah. It's always ready to go. I'm pretty sure I still have Behemoth on mine. I can't remember if I refunded it or not. I don't know. I don't even blanking right now. But anyway, if I do have it, I should definitely check to see how Behemoth is doing on Quest, because it wasn't the best when I was playing it. I did have a tough time and it was very frustrating. But yeah, I should jump back in. Someone's got to play these big story games, Samson.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone's
But
got to take the lead.
Samson, I haven't played any games this week. You have. So what have you been playing?
I got into a few things, Dan. I updated Citra VR and it worked seamlessly. Also re-put my Virtual Boy games back on.
Nice.
And Virtual Boy makes me just as sick as it always did.
the Citra VR is a 3DS emulator, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about the Virtual Boy emulator.
Fair.
Right now. And that Wario game I can play. I did the first 2 levels.
Yeah.
With a couple of I did Tetris. Oh my god, Dan. Tetris in 3D on the Virtual Boy is quite literally hell.
Yeah, fair enough.
If hell made you want to vomit. But I did also update Citra VR, which is the 3DS emulator. And I started playing some more Need for Speed randomly. And Void in the Discord said it's quote unquote we have Gran Turismo at home. And that's kind of what it feels like. Yeah. I don't know why that's the one I booted up, but that's the one I booted up and I played for a little bit. Yeah. And it ran so well, it looks much cleaner. Mm-hmm. And I think I want to start playing a little more Citra, getting like an hour or two in of that a week, whatever game I'm feeling.
My question is when is Nintendo coming out with the Virtual Boy extension for the Switch 2? Because that Switch 2 is powerful enough for VR. It's powerful enough for VR. It could do it if it wanted to.
They just put Discord on their Switch 2, and that took how long? So they're a little behind. They're a little
behind, but they were ahead with Virtual Boy, even though it was,
They were so far ahead that they were behind almost.
Right. I just love how the games all have like a red hue to them. Like, why? Why did they all have like a red tint? I guess
because I think it was a laser.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that no, you hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. Was the way they rendered the graphics itself.
And literally, it would give you 8-minute warnings.
Oh, did it? Fair enough. Yep. I never tried one in my life, to be honest.
Well, all the games, it's built into the games. Some of the games will ask if you want to give them. They're like, "Do you want the 8-minute warning?"
Yeah, fair enough. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. What a time! What a time!
Imagine if every time you booted into your VR game, it was like, "Hey, you want us to let you know when it's been 15 minutes?" Yes, there are times where I might like that.
Yeah, exactly. Did you play anything else on Citra, or just Need for Speed? How did it look, by the way? Did it look good?
I hopped into like Mario Kart, make sure it work, and like one or two others, but I mostly just played Need for Speed.
That's fair. Did it look good?
Yeah, it looks good. The 3D effect is cool. Need for Speed has voice acting in it. It's kind of crazy to me that they did all this effort in the mobile game.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you have it.
Sweet. What else you got going on?
Dan hopped into Hitman VR again. Did level 2, which is called World of Tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you a little bit about this mission, Dan.
Yeah, tell me. This is a PSVR2 version, just for anyone listening, because if you want to get the same experience on Quest, it ain't it.
Yeah, Dan doesn't want to play the Hitman on Quest.
I won't take that one for the team, no.
Agent 47 is required to assassinate Silvio Caruso and Francesca De Santis, as well as infiltrate a secret lab in order to destroy a virus. And Dan, I pretended to be I think a reporter of sorts, something like this. And I was going to meet somebody on the pier. And I killed them from pretty good distance with my pistol, if I did say so myself.
Fair enough.
Then I was able to skirt away. And then I poisoned the other guy in his soup or whatever he was eating. And I snuck into the bathroom and I did what I had to do there. And then I had to take care of the virus, which was a situation, Dan, because there's like 5 people in the lab that you had to destroy this virus. So I didn't really know how to do this without getting caught. So I just went in there, destroyed the virus, and booked it. And eventually I ran out. And I hid. I'm playing on casual, Dan. It's nothing too crazy.
Fair enough.
I ran out. I hid, got in somebody else's uniform, and then made it to my escape point for a pretty nice little clean mission.
Yeah, that sounded very clean.
It's good fun. It's good fun, Dan. Yeah. I'm really not good. I'm not very good at combat in Hitman VR. I was never very good at the combat in Hitman Flat. So I do have to generally try to play on casual, and I do generally have to play like sneaky. Like I can't be just like killing everybody.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not skilled.
It's good fun though. Like you can play this game as however you want, right? That's the thing about it.
Yeah, that's why I say how I do these, because there's so many different ways, and these are probably like the most basic.
Yeah, fair enough. That's
But it's still
okay.
fun.
As long as you get the mission complete, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I got the mission complete, and this one I did in like 45 or 47 minutes. I forget. I posted it in the Discord.
Nice, nice.
But speaking of being bad at games, Dan, because I got into Demeo Battles, I played probably upwards of 10 to 15 games against a couple friends, and I did a lot of losing. And when you lose multiplayer games in this, you do not really accrue any XP. So I was just like slowly getting one key. It got to a point where I got so frustrated, I just bought a really cool dice so that at least while I was losing, I could,
you could
look at my really cool
lose in
dice.
style. You can
Exactly,
lose in style.
exactly. But what I have to do is focus on single player hardcore until I get the barbarian, because now my friend has a barbarian and now he just like
What's the barbarian?
smokes me. The barbarian's the final character you unlock, and the barbarian can move like half most of the maps in one turn with a grapple hook, and can pull you in with a grapple hook. Whoa. And one time during the game, I thought I was just outside the reach, and apparently I was just within the reach, and he pulled me all the way back. I was just like so out of position. And then he can put a little turret thing that like attaches you to it, so you're stuck there. Just very, very powerful character.
Yeah, incredibly. Well, I guess it's the last character in the game, to unlock. So yeah, fair enough. You got to start winning.
Yeah, well, I did start reading some Reddit strategies. What I need to do is get better with the wizard and play with double wizards, because the freeze takes away the enemy's turn. So it's just very the wizard has very good cards.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Very, very good.
Dan, I also got into a little first-person shooter, a little Breachers.
Of course you did. Friday nights?
Friday Night Breachers. We did it. We didn't play too long, but we did get into a few matches. Fun as always. I don't think I need to talk more about that one for now. Dan, what a broad range of little genres, though, right? I hit emulator, I hit PlayStation VR, I hit a multiplayer
tabletop mixed reality,
first-person shooter, and here we go. I did the intro, the tutorial, and like the first 2 missions, I think, of Crystal Commanders, which is a mixed reality RTS game. Dan.
Oh, cool!
Now, I haven't played RTSs in a while.
Instead of playing Civilization and dropping dollars on that, you went to Crystal Commanders.
yeah, mixed reality. Bring it into my house, and it's much as I understand it. Right, it reminds me of like Warcraft 2, but way back in the day. Right, like select these troops, string them over here. This is how you make new troops. You got to explore the fog of war. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. I kind of wish. I'm not going to talk about wishes yet. I'm too early into it. I'm having fun.
I guess you've only just played, yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot of looking down, but that's sort of what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
And then
does it get quite big then? I think this one doesn't.
Well, Dan, I'm early on, so I'm quite small.
Fair enough. It is co-location, FYI.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. You can do multiplayer co-location. So one person can be on one side of the room, the other person on the other side of the room, and you could build, and then
we're gonna need a bigger room.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Do you think I could use like multiple rooms and like one person's in a base in one room, and then do I have to physically run into there?
Yeah, that could go crazy.
Like here, you spend time in your room, I'll spend time in my room. We'll build up our bases, and then in a few minutes we'll join. We'll battle.
We'll come to battle in the kitchen or something.
Dan, I think we might be onto something.
Yeah, you gotta try it out. Well,
Dan, you're coming to visit soon.
I am.
So we could do some in-person. We can do some in-person VRing.
Yeah,
because friend of the show, Noble Squashy, is going to be here too.
Yeah.
So
do you have more than one Quest headset? Because I'm not going to bring mine.
Dan, you've got to bring yours, but I do.
I wasn't planning to, because I was like, I'm just going to go on the flight to, I don't know. We can talk off air.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Dan, we have 3.
The Quest 2S is really small, to be fair. It's really easy.
I've got 2 quests in the PlayStation VR.
There you go. We got enough headsets there in the house.
But we could always use more.
Well, Squashy should bring his Quest, to be fair.
for sure. I know. I don't even have to try to ask him to.
There we go.
Okay?
There we go.
I'm going
There
to
we go.
assume that he's bringing it.
That means we
Much
have
like I
3.
assume that you would bring yours, but apparently I've got to pester you.
I was planning not to bring it, but yeah, sure.
All right, Dan. I also got into more Golf Plus. Great game. Love myself some Golf Plus. And my friend told me that it's actually made his real golf game better.
Wow.
Yeah, we started playing pro swings and pro
Yeah, I guess
greens.
so. If you're playing like that, yeah.
Holy smokes!
Does your
The greens
friend
go
play
fast.
with a Did your friend
With
play
a
with a
club.
club? Yeah, okay, that makes more sense too. That's really cool. Yeah, the pro greens go really fast. I've played greens in the like really professional courses back in the day, and I can't put it to save my life. It's just they're so difficult.
Do they go
to
really
read.
fast?
Yeah, you just tap it and it
Crazy.
just goes and it goes.
Yeah, that's just like in the game. Yeah, it's nuts.
It's crazy that I was watching the Masters this weekend, which was amazing, and you just see it. There was one little chip that Rory McIlroy did, and he chipped it onto the green. You think it'd be fine, but it just kept going, and it rolled off and went into the water. And it was like, "Are you kidding me?"
I should have watched some golf. That's on regular cable. I could probably watch it.
You should have watched the Masters. It was phenomenal. It was like one of the best Masters ever. But anyway, alas, now you get to watch the highlights.
Fun to watch. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that just about wraps it up, Dan. But I will say there are some new games that coming up with our lists today. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I was like, oh, that's in my backlog. I have to get to that, et cetera, et cetera. So see y'all in part 2 where we talk about some of those games and others.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord, a friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
Welcome back to part 2 of Let's Talk Oculus, episode 182. This is the MetaQuest Gaming on a Budget. Samson, this is what we're going to get into in part 2 here. Now, before we get into our picks for the different categories, we've got under $25, under $20, under $15, and under $10. I just want to point out a few obvious things. The Quest Plus is available for anyone who wants to game on a budget. That is, or even if you're not even gaming on a budget, it's still really good value. So it's $7.99 USD a month, or $60 USD for the whole year. And with that, you get 2 free games in air quotes every single month, and you can just save those in the library, and they'll always be available to you every time you've subscribed. Even if you unsubscribe, you can always subscribe again later on and then have access to those games. But then they also have the games catalog, which is growing and growing, and in that you've got stuff like Walkabout Mini Golf, Asgard's Wrath, Demeo is in there, Space Pirate Trainer, Red Matter, Jurassic World Aftermath, lots of like staples,
and many more,
and many more, like lots of staples, all in there. So I think that's always a really good value, to be honest, especially if you're like new to VR gaming and you've just picked up a Quest 3S and such. And you get like a 3 months trial in the box anyway.
I think that buying the year-long $60 if you're just getting a new Quest, or they even offer monthly payments, I think, with the Quest Plus plan included. So you pay like 20 or 25 or 30 or $35 a month
for the whole thing with the Quest as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right.
But I think it's great for like invest $60 into that for the year, and then try out all the games you can, and then buy the few that you do want and go from there.
Yeah, it's a really good time. It's really, even if you buy like a couple of months or so just to test all the different games out, right?
Exactly. You only need to pay for like 1 or 2 months.
Yeah, and just play it all. So yeah, really, really good value. I think honestly, if we didn't do the
you're
podcast,
much more efficient with your time.
if we didn't do the podcast, I think I'd be a subscriber for sure, and I'll probably have that, and then buy the odd game here and there when I'd want to be honest with you. But alas, we do this podcast, so I've bought everything or got a few codes from some developers, but mostly just buy because not all of them are on there. So that's one thing. And I also want to point out as well, what we're going to go into is obviously games that are priced at those levels, but there's always like a Quest sale, to be honest. It's maybe not as frequent as a Steam sale, which is like happens almost all the time, and there's always games on sale on Steam. But it's still
there's a good amount of Quest sales.
Yeah, I was about to say Quest do a good job, and obviously if you just go onto the Quest store, you'll see the sale. But the Quest store can be a bit annoying because it does get mixed up with a lot of like random crap, to be honest with you. So I would recommend
since the end of HapLab.
Right. I would recommend going on queststoredb.com. That's queststoredb.com. I use a very similar one for Steam, which is called steamdb.com, I believe. But QuestStoreDB is really good because it tells you all of the sales, but also it tells you like the statistics of those sales in terms of, like, for example,
last one on it.
Yeah, like for example, I'm just on the website right now. I can see VR Skater is currently on sale, 38% off, and it says it's at its lowest. But then you got another game called the Biathlon Games, which I've actually never heard of. That's at 50% off, and it says first time. So it tells you if the sales are the lowest, if it's the first time, or if it's been lower in the past. So maybe you wait till, I don't know, let's say if it was lower at Christmas, then you wait till next Christmas, because then it's probably going to go back to that lower side. So it's a really good way you could kind of just check on the sales and check what's available. I do that for Steam all the time just because Steam has a lot of good sales. But then you also notice that a lot of these games on Steam go on sale every single year at the exact same time for the exact same price. If not, they keep coming down. So it's like, if I don't really need it now, then I'll just buy it later when I eventually want it. So you've got that as the option. But Samson, what I also never realized until writing the script for the show is that when you're on QuestStoreDB, if you keep just going through the pages, you'll see games that are not on sale. So like Metro Awakening, which is full price currently on the store, but there's a coupon code attached to it. And with that coupon code, there's a coupon code, and it says 30% off. Quest 30% off on the Quest version. So you use that coupon code and you'll get it for 30% off. Same with Retropolis 2, Never Say Goodbye. There's 30% coupon on there as well. And a few others that I actually have never heard of. Zero Caliber 2, you get a 42% coupon. So there's a few lot of like indies or like maybe App Lab kind of things, but yeah. The Metro one was the biggest one for me. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, that's
pretty good.
That's a really good deal. Yeah, use that coupon. So they have all these things in one place. So definitely check it out. In fact, they got Gambit on here, which is a 90% coupon that is still active.
No, not worth it.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, Quest Plus and the QuestStoreDB.com, highly recommend, and you'll be able to put your game on a budget on the Quest really easily, to be honest with you. But Samson, let's go through our picks, and let's start off with the under $10 picks, because I think these are the ones, the cheapies, but I think not many people talk about these as often because a lot of games are more than this, to be honest with you. Samson, I'm going to start.
Good, because I've got 4. I cheated already.
Yeah, I'm going to start with...
I thought you had 4, though. You had 4 listed.
I did have 4. I changed it to 3 because I played the game correctly. You know, I listened to the rules that I've set.
Well, here's the thing, Dan. I felt wrong giving 2 spots to a multiplayer games or vice versa. So I split the difference. I went 2 multiplayer games and 2 no.
First game I want to point out is Arc and Aid. I actually did not realize this is only $9.99. It's a really fun first-person shooter, but it's set in that like 80s aesthetic. It feels like you've stepped into an arcade, is what it feels like, to be honest.
Well, that's the plot.
I guess Arc and Aid, yeah, Yeah, it's true. There's 3 game modes in there. There's an endless, arena, and arcade. And it's pretty much just a boss shooter in the end of the day. Like almost every level is pretty much just a boss, and you're kind of figuring it out. It's like it's got an arcade. It's an arcade game, and it's stripped out all the game, and it's just gone. Let's just put you at the end of the boss for each one of these. But it's fun. It's a fun game, and for $9.99, I think it's a steal, to be honest. But that's its normal price, and it's yeah, if you like that kind of like 80s kind of aesthetic and such, and want a fun shooter, I think Arcade's a good pick. Samson, what you got? Let's go back and forth on this.
Yeah, we'll do it. Dan, listeners of the show know that I am a generally puzzle game fan, and so I'm going to say Cubism, because Cubism also itches my mixed reality love, where you can just have a puzzle. The Cubism. So what Cubism is there's a blank cube, and you have sort of like what resemble Tetris pieces, but they're obviously in 3 dimensions. And you've got to put all the pieces together into the cube.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately, when you've completed them all, each completed puzzle makes a tone, and it plays a song. I've never finished all the tones, so I've never listened to the whole song.
It's so hard to finish. It's so hard to finish this game. So.
I love this because this is a great game, Dan, where I can throw on my headset if I'm in the car just waiting. If I know I'm like, oh, I got a half hour, I'm just going to try to do a puzzle here. Yeah. Or if I'm, just around the house or just want to pick it up, chill out, do a little puzzle, a little puzzling. Cubism, it hits the spot. If you don't like puzzling, though, you will not like Cubism.
No. But it's a beautiful mixed reality one that you can really relax to if you do resonate with those puzzles.
I do believe there are also custom puzzles, so you can build your own and you can import them, so you can make some for your friends. I've never done this because I can't even do the ones in the game.
Cool. Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Samson, you said I had 4 on the list. I'm going to add it back in because why not? The other game I'm going to throw out is a free-to-play game. It's called Hexball. So Hexball, I haven't talked about it on the show, or maybe we'll talk about it properly next week and such, but Hexball is made by the folks behind Rezzil. And with Rezzil, there's the game that came out, which is Premier League Player, late last year. On this, we talked about it on the show as well. But that game is all about like Premier League moments and such for soccer, if those are into it, which is cool. But even if you're not into soccer, Hexball is a really fun game itself. So it's like a 3-player multiplayer game, and there's a game, can you remember Crash Bash? I mean, of course you remember Crash Bash. We mentioned it last week. There was a game mode in Crash Bash where there'll be 4 players, one's on either side,
pinging, like,
and the balls, the balls are pinging around and such. This is the kind of same thing. So there's 3 players though. You're in like a hexagon, which Hexball is where it comes from, and you've got your goal, and you've got to protect your goal basically and score goals against other people, but you're in your one spot, and it's a very like quick action game, but it was also really fun, and you got to get used to using your hands as your feet in a way with the soccer ball. But as soon as you kind of get the hang of it, it's kind of fun. And even if you don't get the hang of it, because you're in this like walled container with the hex, even if you hit it sideways off the wall and such, it's always fun. It's always in play, and it always just bounces everywhere and such. It's kind of like air hockey, just you hit it and whatnot. And then they do have like a bunch of collectibles, and they are like expanding this game. I think that's why it's free to play, because it's not. I don't think it's had its like full release yet. It's still
early access.
Yeah, pretty much, and they're always updating it, and they're amazing on the Discord. They're always listening to like feedback and all that stuff on there as well. So definitely check out Hexball. Maybe I'll talk about it a bit more next week. I've not played too much of it, to be honest with you, but since it's free to play, we don't have many free to plays on this list. In fact, I don't think I have any other free to plays on this list. So I wanted to shout Hexball out if you wanted a bit of a multiplayer fun. Over to you.
Over to me, and I'm going to jump to one of my multiplayer ones. I'm going to mention Bocce Time, Dan, Because if you want to play bocce time is the time to have a bocce time.
What is bocce?
Bocce is where you throw a little ball out into the
court.
Court, yeah, court. That's what you would call it. But the courts are vary, right? The normal court is, probably like a 10 to 15 by like 30 yards, right?
Yeah.
Like it's probably like 5 yards by 30 yards. I was thinking feet, and then I was like, wait, that one's longer. I gotta switch. I can switch. That's meters too.
Yeah,
it's about the same. But then one of them is just a whole backyard, right, with like grill and like and all that. So somebody throws the little ball out there, and then you try and get your bocce balls, your bigger balls.
Yep.
And you got to get your big balls and your little ball.
Big balls close to the little ball.
Yeah, so you're launching them. You can throw them however you like. You can try to get the little ball into weird locations to make it harder for the other people to get their big balls onto the big little ball. But bocce time is good time. And there's there's like one base level that's sort of like a park. And then there's a more beachy type of level that's also quite fun. And if you're looking for a bocce time game, Noble Squashy is very good at bocce time. He smoked me. I think Pow Pow might be good too, but I
haven't played it for a while, but it's a really fun game. This game it was originated from Italy, 18th century Italy. This game,
not the VR game, bocce.
Not the VR game, no. But it's a very fun game, very easy to pick up and play, and it's very fun. I agree with you. Another good shout. The next game I would say is The Secret of Retropolis.
Oh wait, and by the way, bocce time saves you $1. It's $8.99.
There you go, $8.99. The Secret of Retropolis is $9.99. This is a short game. I don't think it took me too long, like maybe 45 minutes or so, maybe an hour max. I can't remember. It's been a while.
You crushed it. I get stuck in these always. There's always one of the parts that I'm like, what am I need to?
I do get, I remember getting stuck in like one towards the end, to be honest with you. But really fun story. It's one of those VR interactive games that is not like it's a game, but it's like a movie, but you're in it, and it's one of those, and it's really fun. It's a good little story. I remember, without playing this for a long time, but I remember the second half of it was better than the first half. But it is just like two short halves, to be honest with you, and you can get through it quick. But for $9.99, it's a really fun, charming story, and it's got a great art style too.
Sounds like it's two short halves that are greater than their whole.
Correct. Yeah, correct. So yeah, Secret of Retropolis. Back to you, Samson.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and double up on the multiplayer and leave the single player last, because my next one is Among Us, Dan, and Among Us has just changed to Among Us 3D. Haven't been in since the rebrand, but it's my understanding it's the exact same game. I'm kind of most interested to play it on Steam now, because you can play it Steam flat, completely cross-play, first person with VR and all that. So this should help maintain the player base and help make it easier to push updates. So you're not pushing updates to all these different versions of the game. Yeah. So Among Us, and there are a lot of children. So try to find your own crew.
Come to the Discord community. Exactly. There we go.
Come on down.
My next pick and last pick for the under $10 games are under $10 games rather, is a Piker. I've talked about this on the show a few episodes ago, but a Piker is a puzzle game. It's you and your dog, and you're just trying to find the mystery of, there's a specific like diamond, and you're trying to figure out what it is, essentially. I think that diamond's been passed from your father, I believe. This is a game that once you start playing it, you'll be like, I don't know if this is very good, but after you get past the first puzzle, after you get past the first two puzzles, it gets much, much better and much more clever as well in terms of the puzzles itself. So I would highly recommend this game, especially for $9.99. It's a steal at that price, to be honest with you, and well worth it as well. So if it was anything more, I think if it was like $20 plus, I would understand, but I don't know if it would be worth it. But for $9.99, the price is perfectly. So go get a piker if you want some puzzling, charming fun.
All right, Dan. Last but certainly not least, also at $9.99, Neodori Infinity. This is an arcade racer, much in the vein of what's that? Outer Inrun, inner Outrun. Outrun. There you go.
Like with Ferraris, and it just like you have to get to the checkpoint.
Exactly. So you're collecting coins. You got to get your gas. You got to outrun and dodge things.
Yeah.
And it's got great music. It's got a whole lot of different cool looking cars and not the coolest looking cars. You know, they're very simple and basic, but it's just a whole vibe, Dan. And you can just get locked in and you just zone out to this game. If you're not, once again, these are very like genre niche, I'd say. So I don't think that any of the games I listed here are going to suit for everybody.
Sure.
And I don't think most good games really do, right? This is the problem. I think most AAA games, they try to appease to everybody. Anyway, Neodori Infinity, it's an arcade little racer like that, and it's good fun. You can just zone out. Once again, it's a good one to just like play in bursts, I find. That's really how I'm able to game a lot most of the time these days. Honestly, the Hitman levels are pretty much about an hour. If I'm not playing like a multiplayer shooter like Breachers, like that's about as long as I've given myself to play before I've got to go do something else.
Yeah, that's fair. I've not actually don't think I've heard this one unless you maybe said it on the show once upon a time.
I've said it a couple. Yeah, Neodori Infinity. That's Neodori and then Infinity.
Nice. So in Neodori Infinity, as you mentioned, Cubism, Among Us, Bocce Time, a Piker, Hexball, The Secret of Metropolis, and Arc and Aid. That's our under $10 picks. That's 8 games right there. You know, you're pretty sorted for a month or so. Let's move on. Let's say you got a little bit more money. We're now going to the under $15.
Nice, we got a raise.
A little raise. I actually only could pick 2 from this category that I really want to talk about, to be honest with you. I'll start off here. Ultimate Swing Golf. Samson, you've talked about this a bunch on the show.
I want to get back in.
For those of you who have not heard of this game, this is for UK players, Everybody's Golf, and for US players, Hot Shots Golf. Basically, exactly made by the same people. Obviously, they can't just use that name. They have to use a different name, but it is that in VR. And there used to be one on PlayStation VR, which is very similar, but this was a great, fun little arcade golf game. And it has mixed reality as well. It can be quite challenging. It can be quite challenging when you're against other
playing
people,
that single player is really hard. Trying to beat those challenges.
I still think the menu system is kind of confusing when you go into it, but as long as you find your way, you know what you're doing once you get in there, and it's just a fun time. It's just a fun, casual golf game, and it's different to mini walkabout mini golf, but it's more like the arcade version of Golf Plus, shall we say? And it's only $14.99 USD, so I think it's a good price for that game, to be honest. I thought it was much more.
Soon to be the cheaper of the golf games then.
Right. Over to you.
I will start with Puzzling Places, Dan. $14.99 base. Puzzling Places, if you'd like puzzles, 3D puzzles, and they've got monthly packs, they've got other packs. Obviously, these packs are going to run you a little bit more money, but base is pretty good. You get a good amount of puzzles. You'll be busy for a while, especially if you're trying to do. Dan, I don't mess around with 100 plus, right? Like, no. I think I've done maybe 100, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do 50s.
Yeah. That's fair enough. I was struggling on even the first puzzle that you get in the game. I remember jumping in and I was like, I just can't wrap my head around a 3D puzzle for some reason.
It does take a little bit of like readjusting. Like, so in a normal flat one, right, you're looking for the edge pieces first. In this, I just try to look for certain like colors or things that I know I'm going to be able to build.
Yeah.
And then build out from there. Or you can kind of look for the edges in a way, right? Like you look at what's on the edges.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good idea too. I think it's just one of those ones that just takes practice. The same as cubism. Sometimes when it comes to some of these puzzles, sometimes you get it in your brain eventually, and sometimes you just never get there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times with cubism, I don't even know how I solved it. I'm just putting those pieces in there.
Fair enough. Yeah. Very good. My next pick is Galactic Catch. This is a game we've talked about a few times on the show a couple of years ago, to be honest with you. Galactic Catch is from Baobab, and it's beautiful art style that comes along with it, to be honest. It's a fishing game in the end of the day, but I like it more for its just relaxation of fishing games. It's kind of like real VR fishing in a way, but then it's got a cool art style to it, a cool little backstory to it, and all of the different fishes are kind of interesting as well to kind of catch. So yeah, Galactic Catch is a fun one. It's a really, really fun one. And it's once again under $15. So I think all three of these games that we just mentioned there are really good price. They could easily be a bit more, to be honest with you, but they're priced really well.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd pay that much more for Galactic Catch, but it is very good, and it is good at that price point.
Yeah,
Dan,
sure.
my next one's Hollow Point, which is one I haven't been in a while, but this is a workout and a half, and so you can really tell I haven't been in it in a while. Essentially, it's a bow and arrow game, and you can I believe naturally you can turn off the knocking, but I like to play with the knocking. So you've got to you're knocking all the time. You just knock, and it's 360, and there's just targets everywhere. They're appearing. They're coming at you. You got to kind of dodge them. And so if you're looking to move, and you do need a little bit of space for this one too. Hollow Point, HOLOPOINT.
Nice. Yeah, it's like a bit of an OG as well. Like it's been around for a while, right?
Yes. It has been out quite some time.
Yeah.
I gotta get moving back into the VR. But anyway, next one and last for me, because I had three here, is Deism, and another one that was really got me through my OGs of VRing, where you it's essentially a civilization builder is building on beneath you. You can throw different various tiles like water, land, mountains, and you want to develop various civilizations. So you want to do ice ones, sand ones, etc. And you just deal with the problems as they come. Sometimes aliens just come and abduct some of your people. Sometimes you got
God damn those aliens,
those bad priests or whatever they're called. And Deism it's pretty fun. Dan, I know it has mixed reality update, and I haven't been in it yet. So maybe I'll put that on the list too.
Yeah, absolutely. Solid picks. All right, let's get into let's quickly do the recap. Ultimate Swing Golf, Galactic Catch, Puzzling Places, Hollow Point, and Deism, or however you pronounce it.
Yeah, Deism. DEISIM.
Got it. Under 20.
Like a deity simulation.
Fair. Under $20 picks. I just want to point out, I think out of all of the games that we have picked here, out of all the games that I've picked here, this is probably one of my favorites. Compound is the game. I freaking love this game, and it's a roguelike, and I'm not a big fan of roguelikes, but Compound really resonated with me. It's got that art style of like a Doom or a Wolfenstein from back in the day, and you're just kind of traversing. Great. Yeah, it looks beautiful for what it is, right? It's pixel based, and you traverse up and up and up this hotel or this big tower that you're in, and it's got cool guns, it's got cool enemy types. It feels really good to play as well. It's fast. and it can be quite hard depending on. There is like 3 different difficulty levels, to be honest with you, but I find it a tough time. I don't think I can get too far. I still not got close to completing the game, to be honest, but I don't think I ever will be. But every time I jump into it, I always have a good time, and I'm always left smiling. It's really fun, simple, Doom-like shooter, shall we say, in a way. Doom-like roguelike. Does that make any sense? But probably. Nice. But yeah, Compound for sure. That's a great $20 pick. Over to you, Samson.
Well, Dan, I'll start with the roguelike myself with T for God. Now, T for God is, how do I describe this? It uses your play space, and it's procedurally generated. So no 2 runs are really ever going to be the same. And the more space you have, really the better, the more immersive it gets. Because what you're going to be doing is you're just going to be like kind of double backing and looping around. And you feel like you've traveled so far, but really you've gone nowhere.
Yeah.
Or essentially nowhere. You end up, you do walk a decent amount ultimately. And it's just a fun little, you're just shooting little robots. You got to kind of figure out where you got to go. And T for God.
I just want to
looking for that type. It's a very unique style. You can't do it. I think you can play with a joystick sitting, but that is not the way I'd say.
I just want to throw out there as well. I didn't have this written down, but Eye of the Temple is very similar in terms of it requires 2 meters by 2 meters. That's also $20. It's a game that I've always wanted to play, but I just don't have the space. I don't have a perfect 2x2. I would be if I'd be able to just move my desk out of the den.
And you can play when you come visit.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. We'll play it at Samson's. But yeah, T for God, Eye of the Temple, both of them. Back to me. Action Hero is the game that I keep talking about. I'm not going to lie. It's a really fun game. It's $20. And it's basically Super Heart, but in a more fun, lighthearted movie setting where you're like the stunt person, and you replay different scenes from different action movies. So you have stuff from like Indiana Jones, for example, in there as a level, but they can't say that, but they'll have like something, they'll have like a James Bond kind of feeling level and such. And you can sometimes tell the references. Sometimes the references are a bit more vague, to be honest, but really good commentary as well. You can have the director, you can either have a male or a female director, and I've only had the male director, but he is hilarious. There's a lot of good one-liners in there. So Action Hero, really cool, fun game, and you get sweat on too. It's like Super Hot, like there's a lot of movement involved, so you can get a sweat on for sure. But yeah, Action Hero. Back to you.
Back to me, Dan. Trombone champ, Dan.
That came out of nowhere because you froze literally on my screen here, and then all of a sudden, I did not see you move, and then you started doing it. I was like,
yeah, Trombone champ, Dan. It's great rhythm game. He's been getting a lot of good updates, new trombones, new songs. It's a challenge, but it is a fun little challenge. And I'm so much better at the VR version than I am at the flat one. And I got the flat one. And I was like, oh, this is such a funny little game. Like, let me play. And I was so bad. So bad. I couldn't click and move the mouse at the same time. That's just too many things. But in VR, for some reason, I can do it.
Well, you're doing the movement more naturally, I guess. So it probably clicks a bit more.
I still, like I said, will randomly cramp my hands in like the most uncomfortable of positions. And I'll have to tell myself like, no, relax. Yeah,
you don't need to do it. You don't need to do it.
But Trombone Champ, great time.
Trombone Champ, I can see some people just looking at it and be like, oh, this is a silly game. I don't really want this. But trust me, it is so much fun. You'll have a great time. I thought very so. Silly. I was like, I don't know if I'd bother with this, but I did get the key from Impact Reality, and I gave it a go, and I was like, holy crap, this is so much fun. So much fun. So, yeah, definitely on that. My final pick will be Squingle. Squingle, we had the Cradle on the show last year, but the reason why I picked it is that it's just very different, from a bunch of those games that we have point in it. I guess in each category, Samson, maybe apart from the $25 one, we've picked a puzzle game, cubism, puzzling places, and now Squingle. Squingle is amazing because it looks like a relatively simple puzzler on the face of it, but once you go in, there's so much more than that. It's very immersive. It's easy to kind of grasp, but hard to master, and you kind of want to jump through and such. But it's a beautiful mixed reality game. More than anything, like you can play this in VR, I'm pretty sure, but I've only played this in mixed reality, and it's a beautiful game, and it looks fantastic, and it sounds really good too. Like if you play with headphones, it's even better. But the Quest 3S three speakers are pretty good, to be honest. But yeah, it's a really good puzzle game that is very different to puzzling places and cubism. So you got a lot of options there, to be honest. All right,
Dan, you ready for this? Ancient Dungeon, little multiplayer action. Although this is a single player one, I much prefer and pretty much only play this game multiplayer. It's a roguelike dungeon crawler. You got to go through 5 different levels to achieve the finish Ancient Dungeon. And then you can even go through again and sort of risk it all, and go through again and risk it all, and go through again and risk it all, etc. Mm-hmm. I think that's the final time. I think 3 is the most. I've never made it that far. I'm not that kind of champion in this, but it is so much fun. You've got a crossbow, or you can do a melee weapon, and you're just picking up various power-ups along the way and taking out enemies, looking out for traps, and having a blast with the friends.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Minecraft kind of art style to it, right? But
Yes. I don't know what you call that art style, but it is
just blocky.
Those
art
blocks
style.
Sort of looking, yeah.
But yeah.
And Dan, I'm gonna go ahead because I can't resist, and I love the movies, and I want more movies out there, and so I've got to name it Mobile Suit Gundam Silver Phantom. If you're into Mobile Suit Gundam, if you're into animes or just like VR movies, $20. It's a 90-minute movie. There's a little VR interaction. Personally, I wish there was less. Some people probably wish there was more. Mm-hmm. But it's a solid movie. But you'll get. It's not gonna you're not altering the movie from your gameplay, so it's a rote experience, if you will. So mileage potentially will vary if you're not someone who wants to rewatch a movie type of deal. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're $20 a little steep. I'll find it on sale, but for a fan or whatnot, it is very well made, and I enjoy the heck out of it.
Absolutely. Okay.
There is also a whole mixed reality section of it too. There is some game.
Yeah, there's it's interactive for sure. So Action Hero, Compound, Squingle, Mobile Suit Gundam, Silver Phantom, T for God, I guess Eye of the Temple, Trombone Champ, and Ancient Dungeon for $20 picks. Well, that's a lot of games already, to be honest. A lot of games. I think everyone's pretty satisfied. They get all these games, they're pretty solid. But we've got one more category, the under $25.
Oh my God, picks. We're like CEO now.
Under $25. I know. We've made it in the workforce. Let's go off with where shall I start? I'm going to start with Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. They've recently had price changes. They actually put on their Twitter account that it is $29.99, but I went onto the store and it's definitely $24.99 USD. So I don't know what happened there, but the second game of this
second one you could have done in the first section.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd put that under top 10 pick. I think top 10 under the picks that I did choose, because the second one is solid, but I think that I'd never played it on Quest. I only played it on PSVR2, but I know the Quest games had lots of issues, and it still continues to have issues, and they've never really done a full.
Really?
proper quest to the upgrade. Yeah, so The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, the first game on Quest, though, is absolutely fantastic. It is, in terms of like, if you're into story games, it is a must play. Yes, it can be scary, but it's not scary in terms of jump scares or anything like that. There could be, obviously, a walker could be popping off now and again, but it's not like that. It's more like kind of a bit of has horror elements. You know, if you're watching Walking Dead on the TV show, it's kind of the same thing in a way. When it is dark, obviously it is a bit scary, but if it's dark, you got to get the hell out of there, because when it gets dark, you hit the timer, a swarm of walkers come at you, so you need to get the hell out of there anyway. So it can be a bit eerie at times for sure, but it is a really, really, really good game, and would highly recommend as one of your picks if you haven't played it already. It's one of the essentials, I would think, for story games on Quest. And that's just $24.99 USD. Over to you, Samson.
Well, Dan, I'm going to say a game we talk about every week. That is Walkabout Mini Golf, because they've just recently changing their price to $24.99. So
May 1st, from May 1st, though, we have time. We have time from now.
There's still time.
There's $15 from now.
But even, Dan, I'm saying even at $24.99, still worth it. Still worth it. Walkabout Mini Golf. Get it. Love it. Golf it.
Yeah, I don't think we need to say much more, to be honest. Next game on the list, Racket Club. Racket Club is $24.99. It's a really fun multiplayer and single player game, which has a bunch of different, like the actual main game is kind of like a bit of a made up kind of pickleballs in a squash court glass box,
kind of mishmash.
Yeah, it's a whole bit of mishmash, but it's really fun. And what I really like about this game is actually the mixed reality part of it. It's fun to see your ball just come and bounce on your like floor and such. And if you've got it mapped out, hit your walls and everything. It is cool when you've got it mapped out properly, and it looks really good. And it's a great art style too. So, and it just feels really good to play. So yeah, Racket Club for $24.99. So it's a good time.
Dan, another one we talk about pretty often here. It's been a little bit though, as I've packed on the pounds. And that is Synth Riders. Synth Riders is a rhythm game where you hit the beats as they come. Each hand has an orb. Mm-hmm. Orbs are coming at you. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's one orb where you can only hit it with one hand. Sometimes there's an orb where you got to hit it with both hands. And Dan, sometimes there are things you must duck, dodge, or lean around.
And a lot of good music packs too.
Lot of good music packs, a lot of good custom songs out there. Good multiplayer. I think you can get 8 people, and it has voice chat, and it's cross-platform. Mm-hmm. So Synth Riders, good time. Go ride that synth.
Excellent. And for my final pick, another one just like Compound. To be honest with you, a really great game is Tiger Blade. Tiger Blade is just an incredibly fun game itself. So it kind of works where it's an on-rails kind of game. So you're kind of teleporting to point, but kind of like Dead Second, if you played that, Time Crisis, Time Splinters, those kind of games. Time Crisis, sorry, and such, House of the Dead. But you're slicing and dicing. Sometimes you have a gun as well, but most of the time you're slicing and dicing with your samurai sword, and you actually slice to move as well. So like there's different kind of doors, and you slice down and then you move into it and such. And the boss battles are really fun in Tiger Blade as well. It makes you feel like a badass, to be honest. It's really fun to play.
Like pistol whip with a sword.
Pistol whip with a sword,
like in that, like you feel like a badass type of way.
It kind of it's super hot more in a way where you're just like kind of like doing some crazy moves and slashing, driving. You know, think of like a John Wick in a way where you're going through a room and you're just just going crazy, and there's lots of blood, there's lots of violence and whatnot. And yeah, this is a really fun game. I don't hear this one being talked about much, to be honest, and they've done a stellar job with it. It's a really good game. And Samson, for you, it would work with your Behaptic Vest, which would be cool.
Nice.
So you get a nice little slice right into the middle there. But yeah, it's really good. If you like a game like Time Crisis with the arcade House of the Dead, those kind of things, very similar. And there are guns involved, but in the end of the day, you're using that blade more than anything. Yeah, and I love this game. I think it's really fun. Every time I jump into this one, and every time I jump into Compound, no matter what time, let's say I haven't jumped into them for a while, always have a blast. Always have a blast. So they're my picks. So we have Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, Tiger Blade, Racket Club, Walkabout Mini Golf, and Synth Riders. Samson, that's a lot of games. That's a lot of games.
We did it, Dan. That was a lot of them. And I didn't even have a third one for 25.
No, you didn't. But yeah, that's. I didn't even know how many games we just went through. Almost 30 games there for a lot of people to pick. So there's a lot of good stuff. And there's still a lot more games under $25 that you can find, to be honest. Samson, interestingly enough, if I'm on the Quest store on the website, because I'm obviously in Canada, I can't filter by price. But if I go onto a VPN and I go to the US store, I can filter by price. What is going on there?
Well, we don't want the Canadians to know the prices.
Yeah. Everything's just expensive. That's what it feels like.
Too much. But yeah, that DB website's very cool. And really, I'd say we did a really good job here, Dan. That's some good stuff.
I think so.
Good starting points.
Yeah, this is going to turn into a long podcast, to be honest, because that will wrap it up for part 2. In part 3, we have the interview with Cezary, which will go into talking about using VR and AR in education. And it's a really good chat. So definitely stick around for that. It's amazing how much passion Cezary has, and he's only 19 as well. And what he's bringing to VR is incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. It's a great chat. He's a really good guy. So stick around for that. We will see you in part 3. Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube and Spotify. And also, if you love us so much, then consider throwing us $1 at patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. Back to the show. All right, welcome back to part 3, where we are joined by a third guest right here. We've got Cezary, who is the editor-in-chief at the XR Daily News, and he's also super passionate about VR and AR education, and you've ran a bunch of XR classes in schools and such. But Cezary, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing very well. So as you said, I had my own website where I write news about XR industry, and I also recently I started doing it 1 year ago. I started doing XR classes, and this is what we will speak today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we want to go through the education, the XR classes as well, but let's first talk about you and your origin story. Can you remember when the first time you tried VR, and how did that lead to you having your own website?
Okay, great. So I'm quite young. I'm 19 years old, and I started it was 2016, something like that. I was in an event in one of our city in Poland where there was a VR very basic thing. There wasn't HTC yet or something like that. There were announcement or that, but there was this smartphone based
the
Samsung gear and such, right?
Something like that. It was from Chinese company. I can't remember the name. And yeah, I tried that. This was my first time with VR, and I mean, I loved it. Even if that was a crappy experience, it was really great to me. For the first time, it was magic. Even if I could just only move my head around, a blurry.
So you were about 10 years old?
Something like that.
Wow, yes, incredible. So lucky.
When you're a kid too, you're not worried about the intricacies of VR. You're not worried about having the perfect experience. It's just really cool, right?
Yes,
it's just super cool to play.
Right. But my mind was blown, and something that I can add to this topic is that nowadays when I show like my younger cousins VR headsets like Quest 3 or something even something different like X-Real Air glasses or something, they are like, yeah, that's cool, and that's all. They're, they are so
Wow.
like this is
They're
normal
numb
for
to
them.
it.
This is
Yeah.
normal for them. They are used to it, and this is really weird because my mind was blown by this thing
Yeah.
that time. Nowadays it's a normal thing, right? That's quite
That's
funny.
strange, isn't it? That's really strange. Is because even now, sometimes I jump into a VR game and still get blown away by how we're in this kind of little world that they create and such. But yeah, it's so weird. I mean, it's just a different generation, right? It's a different. I guess your generation below us. I guess that makes sense. So like this is a further generation below, and they're still like
Yeah, like
everything's just normal. It's already normal.
Generation Alpha or something. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how did that lead to you having your own website?
All right, so I was really passionate about VR, but mainly for gaming stuff, and
Yeah.
like I had my it was VR headset from Dell, Windows Mixed Reality, and I sold it. There was this time stop when VR was in quite a downhill for me, I would say, but for industry maybe as well. It was 2019 or something like that. Then the Quest came out, then the Quest 2, and I jumped on this train with VR again with Quest 2, and I was thinking to myself, wow, this is a really great experience. I also read a lot of Upload VR and a lot of these articles about VR because I was passionate about it, and I just thought to myself, why can't I do it? Because it's just writing words, right? I know that I'm not the best with English, but like, hey, there are stuff like ChatGPT, and I can just improve my English. Okay, it may sound really funny because, but hear me out.
That's
My English
incredible.
was
That's
very bad
incredible.
at this time, so I just wrote something. It was MS, and then I just throw it in the ChatGPT, like improve this text, and I learned a lot from it. So in my beginning, I just wrote text from this ChatGPT stuff. Then I moved away from it when I was able to write a good text by myself, and then
Nice.
I started writing a good quality articles. I think they were quite all right, but then I would be quite honest here. I tried to make it profitable because as I said, I'm not a native speaker, so it took a lot of time for me to write these articles,
Yeah.
and I just needed the money for myself. So I tried something else, and as you may think right now, is education, but it's I will again be honest here. It's not like super profitable. It's just something that I tried, and I really right now love doing, and
Yeah.
I found myself in this mission to help with education, to help bring VR to education, and I will dive deeper into this topic I think later in this podcast, but this is all I had to say right now.
So you say that you started with gaming, and
Yeah.
before we get into the education, I'm just curious, what types of games were you playing? What did you like
All right,
in
so
VR?
Half-Life Alyx, I think.
Okay.
The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners. It was really great experience. Also, like more basics games like Super Hot VR, this stuff. Like many titles that people would now say that these are like demo experiences or something like that. These small experiences that were really fun for a few hours, and then the game finished. It's all. I tried a lot of them, and I loved every single one of them. And like more AAA experiences like Half-Life Alyx, or I don't know if this is a AAA experience, but The Walking Dead. I love these games.
Oh yeah, I love The Walking Dead for sure. I think
Yeah.
Half-Life Alyx I didn't get much chance to play because I didn't really have a PC gaming system for too long. But Walking Dead is so good, and still is one of the best games you can buy on VR. To be honest, there's not many can match. Do you still play to this day? You see you have the Quest 3, right? Is the headset that you normally use?
Yeah, quite rarely, but this is mainly because I'm not sure if and you all live in USA. Am I right or not?
I'm
Yeah.
in
All
Canada,
right,
but yeah,
because we in
Samson's in
Poland
US.
maturity exams. I'm on it. I'm this is my main focus, so I don't have a lot of time playing games right now. So not really, but I will get back to it as soon as I have more time to spend. So
Fair
yeah.
enough. So you have a backlog. You have a backlog of games to get back into once you
Yeah,
once you have some time.
Batman VR, Behemoth. I'm so eager to play it. I have Batman in my library of games on Quest. So I
Yeah.
just this is just laying there and waiting for me to play it.
It's a great one. It's a great one. It's a good when you're ready for it. It's you're gonna have a great time with Batman.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, so let's talk about the education side. So can you give us a little just understanding, maybe just a surface level understanding of the work that you have done in VR education? Like is it a program that you have, or do you just visit schools to show off XR? Like give us a little rundown, a little
Okay,
summary of it.
this is a great question because I will start with that I started the whole thing with my friend, and we like haven't had any money and none of it, but we needed headsets, right?
Yeah.
We need headsets to have kids wear something on their faces. So we went to our school, to the principal, and we had this idea in my minds that this is a great tool for education because students can see like 3D objects of things or we can transport them to like immersive environments, and like for history or mathematics, let's say that there are a lot of abstract 3D objects like cubes or something that you need to see from 3D, and you cannot overlay, you cannot like write something on the whiteboard and have students understand it. So we had this idea and we went to the principal and we told about this idea to our school, and they really liked it. They purchased a few headsets. That was 6 headsets,
Oh wow.
six free headsets. So we
That's
had
great.
something to start with, and of
Yeah.
course we were doing the whole stuff on behalf of our school because this is their equipment.
Yeah.
And there was a problem on the beginning because there are not a lot of software for like apps for education. They are, or maybe I would say there are a lot of education apps, but they are really fragmented. There's not like a single one app for everything. So if we
No.
need a biology lesson, there are a lot of apps for seeing a body, human body, like having a parts of it. You can grab them and see them, but we need this app for 6 headsets. We have to launch it on every headset, and then we cannot control this app, and we cannot see for what students see on each headset. I mean, we can see what the students see, like from broadcasting their like view from the headset on the laptop or something on the screen, but like we cannot control it. If we want to give the users like a heart or another part of the body, we cannot do it. Like they are just doing the stuff on their own. We cannot control
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
if you have a class of let's say 20 users, 20 students, of course we have 6 headsets, but let's say we have 20 of them. All of the students can have their own headset. You cannot control this class, really. You cannot do it.
It's going to be chaos.
You
It'll be
cannot.
chaos. So you're out of control. A bunch of kids just running loose.
Yes,
You need
that's a huge
control,
problem.
right?
That's a huge
Yeah.
problem. So we focused on the apps that gave us an option to control what the students see, and so this feature is called collocation in the Quest headsets. You can connect the
Yeah.
mixed reality one space. You see virtual objects in the same in the same place. So we try to search for the apps that allow for that, and we found some of them. But the best app that is not even for education in mind is Figmin XR. I'm not sure if you are
Yeah. I
you
know
know
it.
it, but
Yeah.
you're familiar with
Yeah.
it. So it's a great like sandbox mixed reality app
Yeah.
that you can just do things. Yeah, right.
And you can import models, right? And then
There's a
Yeah.
Sketchfab API, I think, connected to it, and you can just type a 3D model. Is there most of the time? Sometimes not, but most of the time it's like model
Nice.
from the topic you want to talk about. So we found this app. It allows for 16 users connected at one time. So you can cover like not the whole class in most cases, but a lot of students at one
Yeah.
time. Yeah, right now we have 10 headsets. So we bought
expanding.
we bought a few of them for ourselves for like from our money, but it's still 10 headsets versus like 20 students or
In the
25
class. Yeah.
students. So they need to give the headsets back to the other
Yeah.
students. We need to split them into groups, but it's all right.
What you were saying is that, okay, so you've got 10 headsets, 20 people in the class, and Figment XR is the one that is playing nice, shall we say, because a lot of apps aren't. A lot of apps, I guess, they're all made for just one user in mind
Yeah,
of
that's
at
right.
home doing education rather than having a class of people, right? So Figma XR, even though it's not technically an education app, the way its tools are, you can kind of make it work, right? So,
Yeah.
so what do you do with Figma XR, and like what do you show in the class?
All right. So what we are doing is that in our school that we are doing this whole thing on behalf of is like we are doing lessons in the school mainly, but this is not all the stuff we do. We of course are going through the primary schools, or I would say that this is our primary thing to do, because there are a lot of like primary schools, K-12 I would say, it's something like that, where these schools are really encouraged and also eager to try these our XR lessons, because we are driving to the school, going to principal office and saying, hey, we have this offer, we can for a small fee from the students we can show them like VR lessons and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And we are usually like, oh, that's great, well, let's do it, right? So
Yeah.
I'm also
That's good.
always asking the schools, do you use VR in your school? What headsets do you use? And they often use VR, but the
Really?
headsets that they use are really old systems like Class VR. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's
No.
it's really expensive set of headsets that cost up to $2,000 for one
Wow.
headset, and this is a technology from 2017. So
Wow.
you don't even have tracked 6DOF cameras. You just can
No.
move around. One good thing that this system has, that it's like unified software that allows teacher to launch
control.
and yes, teacher can control all the headsets. It's really cool, but the headsets are really, really old and not usable for lessons, because the main thing you can do is like 360 images or videos.
Right.
So
Right.
it's not a great tool for students. I mean, you can do something with it, but
No
not that much,
interaction.
right? With Quest 3
Right.
headsets, you can interact with your hands, grab an object, resize it to your needs, and do all of that stuff. So we are doing lessons for these primary schools, and the kids are loving it. The kids, we are doing like for the 1 to 3 grade classes, we are doing creative lessons that we are just throwing stuff to them. Just, what you can draw, there are like
Yeah.
a lot of 3D objects you can resize it, have fun with it, right? For older students, we are doing history lessons, astrophysics. I love astrophysics, so I'm doing
Cool.
that lessons, and all of that stuff. But we also try to make these lessons for older students in like let's say high schools or something like that. So we are doing all of that with Figmin XR. It's not perfect though, and I will say you why. Because the tools that this app is giving you, they are great if you understand it. So you can create lessons you have a great library of 3D objects. If you learned how to use the interface, you can control what students see. You can control what students cannot grab and what can grab, because you don't want always to, have 12 students to mess with your objects. You just need to place something in space and explain what is it and all that stuff. So if you understand how it works, you can control everything. However, the main problem that we have with this app is that, as I said, this is not an educational app. This is a sandbox app. So you can create these lessons, but there are no lessons ready, like made, and you can just use it. Use them. So, of course,
so you have to make everything yourself.
Yes,
you have to teach the teachers.
That's the main problem. They don't understand it. They really don't. And I'm not saying that it's impossible to make them understand it, but this takes a lot of time.
It's a learning curve, and people might not want to jump in because they have to learn something completely from scratch rather than, I get it.
I know I'm a bit older than you all, but I remember when my classrooms were getting computers and we had 2 computers for the entire class to share. And, that's a couple students did the research part of the group while the other part did other things. And it's sort of like a recome-up of that.
It's the same thing. Just with VR now.
Yes, I would agree, because, headsets are not, they are expensive, but they are not like super. You can buy $300 Quest 3S and, $300 in the US. Yeah. And you can equip the classroom with these headsets. So the hardware technology is here for education, but the software is very lagging behind. Really, because if you want a lot of schools using it,
because of money, there's no money in education.
Yeah, but maybe the hardware is here just only now, from now on, then maybe it will encourage. Oh, sorry, I heard
new users to use it for sure.
All right, I think I'm back. I was reconnected.
You're back. You're good. It's okay. I think we're okay if it randomly happens every 5-10 minutes or every 10 minutes or so. That's okay.
Really sorry about it. So I was talking about that right now, if the VR technology is here, then for schools maybe it will encourage companies to try to develop something for the students, right? And what I was also trying to say is that if you want schools to use this technology, to use VR in the classroom, then you need an app that have all the tools that Figmin XR, for instance, have, but also easier to learn, easier to do, and also library of ready-to-use lessons for teachers to even begin with idea that you can have VR, usable VR, like in the classrooms in most of the schools, because many schools have VR, like VR headsets, but they just don't use them. They are in the back rooms of the school and they are laying there collecting dust. And this is not something we VR enthusiasts want, because if more schools have like VR in their ecosystem, then it's better for us, basically, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you looked at I don't know if it's available where you are in Poland, but have you looked at the Meta for Education program that they've started and such?
This is a great question, because I'm working with one company in Poland, Cognita. So I'm also writing the white paper with them on education. Like really long. How to use education in VR, and one of the topic we discussed there is Meta for Education. However, interesting fact is that this is not really Meta for Education; it's Meta Horizon shared Meta
Horizon Worlds.
No, managed services. It's another thing. Meta Horizon managed services or solutions. I can't remember exactly
something like that. Yeah,
how his name. However, what this software does is something similar that Meta for Business did back in the time. So you have a software that basically does manages the headsets, and you can control, you can just launch from a laptop, let's say, or the tablet or iPad or something. You can launch an app on every headset, like from just one button. You can also manage them from like update standpoint, so you can launch an update on every headset and don't have like this problem, tough troubleshooting problem before the lesson, let's say, that you like managing, like you're trying to.
It eases the logistics a lot.
Yes, this solves this logistic problem. And what does it do for schools besides this management solution is also that it gave school 3 years of warranty, because normally it's 1 year or 2 years in Europe. I think it's 3 years there. And also for schools, it's they're giving this the Meta Horizon Managed Services, this tool that I just said before, that lets you manage headsets for a life. So it's not a subscription anymore for schools. You can they can choose for a little bit more money that schools they have they like forever this tool. So they don't need to reuse it or like repay it for every like 2 years or 1 year. It's great because as you may know, or perhaps don't, that the schools, when they are buying VR headsets, they are often in Europe, let's say, they're often doing it from the European funds or like country like government funds. So the government Europe, they're giving the school money. It's one-time funding, and from this money, the school can just buy the headsets. But this is only one-time funding, and they cannot use this funding to reuse the subscriptions every 3 years, let's say. So it's a problem, but
so it's beneficial.
It's forever,
The way it is, it's beneficial. But I guess the Meta for Education right now, I think they're still testing it out, and it's only US and UK, right? I think. But is there anything in Poland? Like you said, you're working with a company and you're writing a paper, but is there any links to Meta for Education in Poland at all?
It's really, I would say, complicated, because from my understanding, as I said, because I was confused about it, because they said that they are testing it in United States and Great Britain, but from my understanding, again, they are at the same time doing it, I think, on the smaller scale or something in other countries. As I said, in Poland, you can buy the Meta Horizon Managed Services, and this is everything that Meta for Education is, but also it isn't. It's really like confusing.
It's confusing.
Yes,
I see.
But this is what I understand from it, and I really read a lot of it, and from everything that I read about it, this is just the Meta Education is Meta Horizon Managed Services, and the Meta Education for schools is like this 3-year warranty, and also the ability to buy not a subscription, but like for license for life. This is all
one-off. Right. Really I thought the education. I thought they included their own education apps as well that you can use. But I thought they did do that. But at the same time, why not make those education apps global as well, so everyone can use them and such? That doesn't make any sense, because I remember when the iPad first came out and they had apps, and they were really promoting stuff like education in the classroom, but all those apps were still available to the public as well. Like you could download the autonomy for the body app and such like that, and use it at home and use it in the classroom and such. And it had those tools built in. So maybe you're right, Cezary. Maybe it's just the hardware is there, and maybe with the Meta Horizon platform, with using one button to kind of control all the headsets and such, that is starting to come in, and then that software is starting to come in, but we're still lacking the apps that are for the classrooms, right? So my question to you, Cezary, is, are you learning how to become a software developer, and are you developing your own astrophysics app for the classroom?
So I'm in, how do I say it? I'm in the technical school in Poland, and it's a programming school. So I learned programming a bit, but
Perfect.
I will be honest, I'm not really good at it because I haven't like developed any my own apps, or I just like try a bit of stuff in Unity for developing for Quest 3. But there are like plans in my head that, oh, all right, maybe after I finish this school, maybe then I will start developing this
Yeah.
one great educational app. But let's be honest, this is really a lot of work, really a lot of work. And
Yeah.
I'm not a
Course.
developer. I'm not a programmer yet. So
Yeah.
I cannot see how much work could I put in for this
For
to work.
sure.
I'm impressed. You're writing a white paper. You're in the classrooms. You're studying for these tests. You're writing for XR Daily News. You got
You're
a
only
lot on
19.
your plate.
I mean, I halted
This is
writing
wild.
our daily news some times ago because, as I said, from the lack of time, basically. But I mean, I
That's
really
fair
want
enough.
to go back to it because I enjoyed it. But I was, perhaps it's a bad thing, but I was quite desperate for money at this time. I needed it, so I tried to
sense.
do something else for this, and
Fair
perhaps
enough.
it's something hollow, I don't know, but I really needed it, so it was my main thing to do. But then I found myself in this education field with VR, and this is what I love to do right now. But as I said, I want to come back to this, writing these articles. I really love that.
For sure. For sure. So is
The
the
education stuff is cool.
with the education stuff, just to kind of tie a bow around it then, and we've kind of discussed a lot of obviously the challenges that you faced and where it needs to go, but is there anything else apart from just the actual apps itself that is needed to make it a better experience
To make it a
for
better
the classroom and
experience.
such,
So
or is it really just the apps?
So we also, with the company I work, we did a little study for the white paper, and in this for the study for schools, like we sent a bunch of questions about how they to schools that have VR ecosystem in the schools. So we sent this bunch of questions, and they answered about the problems that they have, and the main problems that many schools have with like VR in the classroom is the lack of apps. So this is the main problem that I said that is like the problem for me and the problem for a lot of
For
schools.
sure.
But also, I think that I am not sure if this is problem in other countries, but however, in Poland, we have this society of quite older teachers, and they cannot understand how this UI work. Like I tried a bunch of times to put on the headsets on for the like older people, the older teachers, and just explain to them how everything
Yeah.
works. They just gave up because it's so hard to understand for them. And I'm not saying that okay, they cannot
It's a whole new
understand it,
technology.
but from like my experience, they really struggle a lot for it. And you have IT teachers in the schools, or one teacher and a few teachers, but they cannot like assist on the lessons that the teacher have
Yeah, I
the teacher are
see.
doing
I
like
see.
every time. So the problem is that you need a lot like easier to navigate interfaces, easier
Yeah.
to understand, in the as the whole. So
A
this is
smaller learning curve, a smaller learning curve, right?
smaller
It's the
learning curve.
I guess like Samson, what you said earlier, it is literally back in like 2004, 2003, or Cezary, I don't know if you were born then, to be honest, but when laptops. Yeah, there we go. So it's like when classrooms first started to get computers and laptops in the classroom, like not just in your IT room, because that you have the IT teacher, but also in the actual classroom for the general. I'm sure the same problems occurred then, right? At the same time, where older or just people who are not really tech savvy or having those troubles, and how to get it to the level. It's hard. Like, what is there anything in particular that you help with, Cezary, for those teachers who are struggling? Is there any like tips or anything that you teach them? Or is it just patience? Yeah.
I can tell them a lot of tips how to use it, but the main problem that I also always like step into is that we just need an easier an app with an easier interface. We just need that.
Right.
Without it, I cannot do anything. Like I can really like try to help these teachers, but if we don't have an app that have ready to use lessons, because I try to create a lot of lessons in the Figma XR with the 3D objects. You can also drag a window with a video to the space. You can also drag an image, like if we have a history lesson, let's say, we can drag an image of a map, of a Europe map, let's say, and we can just explain what is it, and then we can show a 3D weapon of the like warrior of the the deal. So you can do a lot of it, a lot of stuff, but the whole thing you need to make
learning curve for Figman.
So
Figman's tough.
So logistically, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I will just finish it. So I tried to do these lessons. I did a lot of them, like with astrophysics. Figma XR is great because they have the options for controlling the gravity of different objects. So you can simulate the solar system, or you can simulate how gravity works between Earth and the Sun, and you can really show it in the lesson, the VR system. So it's really great to show it. However, to do it, I will be honest, I spent 5 hours designing like 1 lesson, and only one. I did like 8 of them.
Wow.
So as I said, it's really hard to do, and we cannot expect teachers to spend this much time to design their own lessons.
Yeah.
So we need, as I said, ready to use lessons for this to work.
Mm-hmm.
So logistically, when you're getting you show up to a classroom to do a lesson, you have all these headsets, you give 10 headsets or however many headsets you have, everybody puts them on. Are they all logged in to a certain meta account? Logistically, how are you getting everybody into Figma, or are you giving everybody a headset that's already in Figma?
So before we start a lesson, let's say in some primary school that we are going to have this lesson in, we are driving there when we started doing it, it was 1 hour before the lesson that we need 1 hour basically to organize everything. Right now we learned how to do it faster, so it's like half of an hour of an hour, but you still need a time. So basically every headsets have their own meta account, but it's you need a meta account to have where headset work. But in the Figmin, you also need a Figmin account, and then you have this little button to enter multiplayer, and you need to basically on every headset you need to do it, and also on every headset you need to create one anchor point, basically manually with your hand. You have this hour floating in the space. You need to place it in the floor, and you need to place this arrow on the exact same place on every headset. So it takes a little bit of time, but if you learn how to do it, you can do it pretty fast. But you cannot expect teachers to learn how to do it from basically. It happened like a few weeks ago. I think that the Meta announced that they are giving camera access to developers. So right now we can just, let's say, have schools class. You can have QR code in the classroom, and when the headset just sees this QR code, it connects automatically, but there is not an app that use it yet. So it's just an idea that you can do it a lot faster. But right now, it's the only thing we can do with Figma. We need just time before the lesson to do everything, and also we need stable and fast Wi-Fi. So it's another problem.
I was going to say 16 heads or 10 headsets being on one Wi-Fi is a lot.
Yeah, I know. So we need fast Wi-Fi. So when we are driving to the school, it's a really problem because for a classroom that has good Wi-Fi. And recently I found out about these mobile like hotspot routers that have like a SIM card or something that you can just, like a phone, you can create a hotspot. So we are planning to buy it, but it costs money. We need money for this. So right now we just only have a router, and when we are driving to the school, we are driving like one day before the planned lesson begins, and just try to find the suitable classroom with good Wi-Fi where we can connect our router or just make it work. It's really a lot of stuff to do. It's complicated, but you can do it.
Cezary.
Yes.
Cezary, I'm so impressed. Like, because there are what you're telling me here is like, I didn't expect this is where the conversation would go in, but like, there's so many like hurdles and there's so many issues to try and get this all right. And yet you've been doing this, you pushed through, you've had the patience, you've had the passion as well to and the motivation to kind of get through this and deliver. So I just want to give a big bravo to you, because that's very impressive. And hopefully one day, maybe when you're maybe a few years older, things will start to be like much more advanced and it just works, right? But right now it doesn't, but you're making it work there. So yeah, you're doing great things. The next question I was about to ask, which is towards the end of this podcast, it was just to like for educators, teachers, and or admin people, or anyone who's looking to implement XR in their like school or in their classroom, how would you get started? But I don't know if you can answer that very well. There's a lot of issues.
It's hard, but they all. I mean, you cannot do everything in an app like Figmin. Like if, let's say, you have a geography lesson, you need another app that allows you to just, like something like a Google World, Google Maps, something like that. But there's an app for that. It's an application for that. Its name is World. I don't know if you are aware of it.
Yeah, with 3 O's. That's a good one.
It's a great app. It's a great app, and it also allows for 8 users connected to one world each time. So you can create a lesson, but also you need a good Wi-Fi, because we tried to do it once with a really bad Wi-Fi, and the lesson was it went really bad. Just we could connect 2 headsets.
Nothing
and
was loading.
Badly, really bad. But we tried and we failed. So you need a good Wi-Fi. Just go to speedtest.com and test it in the classroom. Also search for an app like Figmin or World if you are interested in doing geography lessons. But with a Figmin, it's complicated. With a UI, it's really complicated. But if you are really determined enough to learn how to do it, you can do amazing things. But hey,
we need another Cezary in all these different places in the world.
I do feel like right now where VR is, since there's no full-on education app that can do all the lessons, so to say, where it fits in is like fitting into within other lessons. So like using specific apps like chess or like a museum app or Figmin, etc., and just applying those to whatever lesson you're doing. Like like Tribe, if you're doing a music lesson or something like this. I know music's getting cut in a lot of American schools, but
it's another podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But and to your point of teachers being uncomfortable, I do feel like if I showed an older person like what's the puzzle game or
Puzzling
like,
Places?
Puzzling Places or chess or something that they might be more familiar with, and applying something they know and using VR to experience that, even though like the systems and everything is very different from like Chess Club to Figmin, it just gets them in VR and they're like, oh, okay, this is sort of how how I could use this, etc. And then just getting more acquainted with it and more comfortable with it. And in that vein, I would love to see schools take on sports, like VR sports, like having a walkabout mini golf team and then having the teams compete. Like I don't know why that's not a thing yet. You could have a worldwide like high school walkabout league, and then that would just like also get XR headsets into schools more, etc.
That's a great idea. I think that what you're telling is to start small. Like when teachers need to have the idea to implement the VR into their classrooms, they don't really need, or I would say they cannot right now do it for like a whole classroom. It's a problem with like buying headsets, lack of software, etc. So what they can do is start small, start with these apps that have like really usable and easy to understand interface, like puzzling places, as you said. I also try to implement it with my lessons, and it's great actually, really fun with like younger children, like younger kids. But for us, it's also great for like additional lessons. You can implement it, and but question remains how to do it like on the full scale of classroom, of the full scale lessons. I would say that it's nearly impossible right now if you want to use something as advanced as Quest 3. But because you can use like older systems like Class VR or something, however, it's not really good. So it's a short out for developers. I think that there is a lot there right now. It's beginning to there's a beginning for like these apps for educational advanced educational apps for Quest headsets, or also Pico headsets, or if someone can do it, just unified one software for every headset, like Pico, Meta, etc. If someone can do it, then I think they can do a lot of money, I believe, but also
there's a big gap there.
Yes, there's really a big gap starting to grow. This gap is really starting to grow right now. So there is a great place to develop something, I think. But right now
there's so much potential.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing.
Yeah, there's so much potential in this, and there's like you said, there's would say 3 fundamental issues. 1, there's the lack of apps. 2, it's a big learning curve for teachers, and 3, there's no real unified system that you could control the apps. I mean, maybe the meta education beta program and such is starting to address that problem, but it's not like a global thing, and it's not very easy to access just yet, right? So they're your like 3 main fundamentals. But as I mentioned, Cezary, just a moment ago, I'm still incredibly impressed that you've been managing to do some of these lessons aside from all of those, because they're all 3 of those things are like very important things. And when you look at that, they're so big as a friction point that it's easy to not bother, because of it's so much friction to even get into the space. But you've done a great job. You've done a fantastic job doing this. And do you have any like do you have like a video of one of your lessons, or like what you would show in Figma at all?
Yes, for sure. If you want, I can send you these videos.
Absolutely.
And you can implement it to the podcast, the video.
If you send it to me, I just a couple or something. We could maybe put them on the video podcast and share them in our Discord as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll be great. But Cezary, thank you so much for joining us. It's really been a really good insight into VR in education, because we had a podcast a few weeks ago talking about VR education, but more to do with like museums and public places and such. But it's really interesting to hear firsthand of how it is like in the classroom, because no one really talks about the classroom education aspect as much, because we're not in the classroom anymore. At least me and Samson aren't anymore and such. But also
I ran that camp, but
I guess you have the camp. Yeah, you have the camp and the VR arcade for sure. But it's great to have the insight. So thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It was a pleasure to meet you, and perhaps I hope so that we meet someday in the future, like on another podcast, perhaps. I really
absolutely
hope so. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. And you can check out Cezary. He is on X or Twitter, however you want to call it, and is showcasing his stuff on there. So you can. I'll have the link in the description to his X account, as well as the obviously XR Daily News if you want to check out some of those articles that he's posted as well. So thank you to everyone for listening. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you next week.